Can't hear you.
Hold on, we haven't started yet.
Oh, I thought I heard. I think V just was like. I thought I heard him. I thought he was.
Oh yeah.
No,
I was
you're
like,
good. You're good, V. You can kick it off.
What's up, ladies and gents? We're back. Fight Hype Radio, Fight Hype Live, I should say, in the building. My man Ben Thompson joining us like always from Cincinnati. I'm living it up in South Beach, sunny South Beach. Got my man Rockman coming to us, The Rock, up in New York City, and of course Stacy is joining us, Mr. Mayweather himself, out in Fight City, USA. So a lot going on the docket tonight, fellas. As you all know, we're just coming off the heels of Porter Garcia. And this week we also have the rematch, very big rematch with Canelo and Golovkin. So let's take a look back to last weekend, though, fellas. We'll get to next weekend in quite a bit, but let's look back to last weekend. We had a pretty good card. Actually, what I thought was a very good card. And the card at the top was of course the Garcia Porter, which I thought was a very good fight. We're gonna chop that up, but let's go around the board and hear your thoughts on everything, fellas. Ben, I'm going to start with you first, man. Tell me what were your thoughts, Ben, as we finally got the fight that we've been looking for.
I mean, the fight went pretty much like I expected. I mean, like I told you the last time we were on, I was actually in camp with Shawn, and I got a chance to see what the game plan was, to see what the strategy was. The only question I had is whether or not he could, stick to the game plan. And, to his credit, he absolutely did. There were a couple times where, you could kind of tell that Danny got him, off the game plan a little bit. But credit to the corner, credit to Kenny, credit to Barry Hunter. They reeled Shawn back in. They kept him on the game plan. And, close fight. I mean, some people are saying it should have been a draw. Some people are saying Danny should have won. I felt like Shawn did enough to win. But, you can't take anything away from Danny Garcia. I mean, I actually thought that, even though he lost the fight, I actually thought that was one of Danny Garcia's, best fights. I mean, he actually looked pretty damn good in the fight. So, credit to him. There's no shame in taking the L. But yeah, it pretty much went how I expected it. I expected Shawn to squeak out a close decision, and that's what he got. But yeah, what the rest of you guys think?
Well, I was in the house. I was actually there. And first of all, I want to congratulate the new WBC champion, Shawn
Absolutely.
Porter. Yeah, for a great fight. I mean, the fight was entertaining all the way through. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. He said he wasn't leaving New York without that belt. Danny, even though he lost, I think I'm going to mirror what Ben said. He showed a good account of himself. But at the end of the day, I think he just, was outpointed and out hustled. I still haven't scored the fight because I haven't seen it in its entirety on TV yet. But from being there and from seeing it, it looked like he was just a little bit out hustled, and it looked very close.
Mm-hmm.
Stacy, what you got for us, big man?
First of all, like you said, congratulations to Shawn because he definitely deserved it. He hard work, dreamed of it. He went out and got it. I say that the game plan. I think that they had a better game plan, and they adjusted to Danny's game plan. So I think he did real good. It was a great fight, man, and it was great, man. But I scored it because I did watch it more than once. At the 10th round, I had it 5-5, man, and Danny put them last two out, man. I mean, excuse me.
Shawn.
Porter put them last two out, man. The championship rounds, man, made the fight. He fought a good fight, man. How he had come in, his feinting was real good, his movements, and he wouldn't let even if Danny would adjust, he would come with some other look, and that just was a damn good game plan they came with, man.
Yeah, just to quickly throw my thoughts out there, and you guys have kind of hit all of the major bullet points, but I mean, to take it a step further, I thought it was a very good fight, but I thought going in that Porter would not be denied. You know, he came there with a mentality, and I noticed a different level of seriousness. Like, Porter's always about his business, but I think he came on a mission. And, you know, I was just looking at some of the stuff and breaking down some of their old fights. And a few minutes before the match started, I was on Facebook, like I always am, talking about this stuff. And, you know, I posted that I think that we're going to see his Tarver Jones moment, you know, where he was just going to come in one of those, you know, on that night and not be denied. And I think at the end of the evening, that's what we got. Danny didn't fight a bad fight, but one thing that got me with Danny, and I don't know if it's the ring rust, you know, he hasn't been as active over the last 2 years or so. It could be a number of different things, but I didn't think I think he failed to take advantage of certain opportunities that was there for him. And when you look at the end of the fight, it was close enough to where had he exploited those opportunities, I think we probably could have been looking at a totally different outcome. But, you know, props to Shawn. I think Shawn, his dad, Barry Hunter, the whole crew, I think they did a hell of a job. And I'm going to say one more thing, which is going to take us into the next segment. We got to go around the horn on this one. I think that Shawn Porter, and I can't wait to hear what y'all got to say about this one. It's just my thoughts. I think that performance showed a few different wrinkles, a lot more discipline in some respects. And I think that basically Shawn Porter proved that he probably can run with the Errol Spences of the world, the Terence Crawfords of the world. And I think that fight is a lot closer than we probably thought going into that fight. Am I alone in that? Who want to give me some thoughts on that?
No, I agree, V. I think, Shawn Porter is no walk in the park for anyone. He's a very, very tough fight. Even the guys he lost to, Keith Thurman and Kell Brook, those were tough fights for those guys to win. You know, and when Shawn Porter fights Errol Spence, I don't know when that's going to be, but obviously, you know, it's definitely going to happen. That's going to be a hard fight for Spence. It's not going to be, you know, he's not just going to walk in there and just man down him in the first 6 rounds like he's saying he's going to do with Keith Thurman. You know, and Stacey, I was talking to you the other day a little bit about this. The thing about Shawn Porter is that in a lot of ways he's kind of perfecting his own type of style. You know, a lot of people joke that, he's a football player and whatnot. Even leading up to the fight, I think we talked about, you know, Shawn's amateur pedigree, all the guys that he beat when he was an amateur. So obviously he's a little more than just a football player. I mean, he's got some boxing skills as well. And I think that's kind of what we saw in the Danny Garcia fight is we got an opportunity to see the culmination of what Kenny and Shawn have kind of, you know, been working on for their, you know, for Shawn's entire career. They've kind of, you know, taken, you know, all the things that Shawn does good, things that he does bad. You know, they've taken all those things and kind of, you know, smushed them together into this style that they've perfected. And, you know, against Danny, like I said, I think we finally saw, you know, just the perfect storm of that style. I mean, the way he mixed it up, you know, his footwork, you know, the aggressive style, but still boxing from the outside. I wish Sean Sattel was here right now because I definitely know he's going to want to chime on this. But basically, Shawn was able to counter the counterpuncher. And, you know, there were a lot of things. You could tell that, you know, there were a lot of things that he's picked up over the years from being in different camps, fighting different fighters, sparring guys like Manny Pacquiao. And all those things just kind of got, you know, smushed together into, like I said, the perfect storm or the perfect style for Shawn Porter. And that's why Danny Garcia, I think, just, you know, it was very difficult for him to make the necessary adjustments because, you know, if you've never fought that type of style before, then it's hard to really kind of figure out what to do. But yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a tough fight for Spence, man. It's not going to be as easy as some people are thinking. What about you guys?
You know, let me interject real quick before we get some thoughts from Rock and Stacey on that one. I'm looking at the chat board and I see people going bananas. Guys, listen, This isn't to say that Porter definitively beats him. It is to say that Porter has a much greater chance than we probably thought going into this past Saturday night. But Rock, let's get you, and then Stacey, I want to get your thoughts on that one before we jump into a different direction.
I guess I'm gonna be the oddball on this topic. I think that when Porter was trying to box, I think that's when he got caught the most. I don't know if you guys agree with that. I think when he turned into himself and he was like grabbing and throwing the punches as he grabbed and basically wrestling with Danny, I think that's when he had the most success.
I know. I think Rockman, not to cut in, but I think you're right when you talk about early in the fight, like very, very early in the fight, round 1, round 2. I think when Shawn was boxing then, I think that Danny was definitely catching him, but I think later in the fight, because he didn't just kind of abandon his boxing, you know, he just started to switch it up a little bit more and was a little bit more effective. But I do agree with that, Rock.
I kind of believe that there's a little disagreement. I believe that for some weird reason that was part of the game plan. I think that is what actually, even though because this is my opinion of Danny. Danny can adjust to you, but it takes him a couple rounds to do it. It's like he gave him something to adjust to and changed it. You know what I'm saying? It's like he changed it up around the third. But to me, it seemed like he kind of boxed the whole fight. And when he did get to the bully tactics a lot, did he do? It seemed like his father kind of got him back to the drawing board when he would veer off a little bit. But on you, the Danny fight, I mean the
Spence
fight, I think that's I think it's interesting. I always wanted to see how he would pair with him, and I don't know if he would fight him that same style. That probably was a game plan for Danny.
Very good point. You know, to jump on what Stacey's saying, and I think that's a damn good point, Stacey. You know, and that's something that I don't think fight fans ever even really factor in. You know, fight fans always look at it in a sense of, well, this guy looked like that against fighter A or whatever. You know, every training camp, these guys are organizing a new plan to fight a new fighter, and they're honing in on that plan for 6 to 8 weeks or greater. You know, so what we saw was specifically custom made and tailored for Danny Garcia. And I think when he fell out of sync, his dad was quick to nudge him, get him back in place. And man, I'll be honest, he showed and it's kind of funny to say, he showed a better ring IQ than I knew he had. You know, usually you see the physicality with him, and that's it. He boxed, and he was to support what Rock was saying earlier. He was getting touched up when he tried to box. But at the same time, he knew when to go from boxing and when to go just straight up Shawn. And I think he did a very masterful job going in and out, because I think he kept Danny guessing. But relative to the scenario about Errol Spence, this is where I want to go with that one, boys. Again, I want to hear your thoughts on this one. You know, we look at Porter. We've seen Porter lose a couple times now, and he had this triumphant moment, which was great. Right now, Errol Spence is hot. We see him. He's taking guys out. He's looking damn good doing it. For the longest, I felt like Errol Spence was untouchable. The more I see Terence Crawford, the more I think, you know what, his IQ, his style, he might have a little something to make that competitive. And I don't think that's his one-sided. But now I think Shawn has entered that conversation. When it comes to Errol Spence, fellas, this is my question. Are we looking at Errol Spence and giving him that throne, so to speak, too quickly? Like what? Help me to understand. Help me to understand why we're looking at Errol Spence as unbeatable in this perennial figure on that level so quickly. I'm not saying I disagree, but I want to hear some thoughts on why we're so quick to ordain him. Who got something for me?
Well, who do you mean by we? Because I haven't crowned him.
Hey, listen, well, here's the thing, and that's why I distinguished earlier fight fan versus us. We talk about this stuff. We eat, sleep, breathe this stuff like some hardcore fight fans. But I think just being in a ring or I won't say the ring, but in the gym with these guys, we have different angles for the most part that some fight fans might not understand, because for the most part, we're around these guys. We're a little bit closer to the action. But the average fight fan, if you ask them right now in the poll, which one of these men are the last one standing, they're going to say Errol Spence. But I don't know that that's genuinely the case. Why is the average fight fan looking at Errol Spence as the last man standing, and should they? That's my questions.
I don't think they know why, but I say the size and what they seen. But me personally, before I give him the throne, even if he's at 147, he has to, not go up and stay there. But everybody I know that gets the throne, they have went up, even if they come back down. Once you get these type of props, and he is the size, so he could easily, even if it don't happen, he should easily be also yelling out Canelo's name, because that's a fight that possibly could happen. When you do stuff like that, that make you, that goes for De La Hoya, even Terence Crawford out here. This goes to the history. I mean, you go to Sugar Ray and them. These people all went up, and this is a guy that don't have to beef his stuff up to go up. So, I think it has to be a test. And the reason I say Porter is a good fight is by the size. Even though he beat Kell Brook and he did his thing, he couldn't do exactly what he wanted to Kell Brook from the beginning because of Kell Brook's size alone. So that's something that's going to be different when you see him fight somebody with skills and size as well. But
Stacey, let me ask you a question. Let me put you on the hot seat there. I want to ask you some direct questions because I like what you just said. When you mentioned about the Kell Brook size, do you think that Errol Spence is as good of pure boxer as Kell Brook is? What like between the two?
I would say almost equal, but if you ask about the fight, I can't make excuses for him, but we all do know that Kell Brook had one tender eye and one eye that was coming off of surgery. So
that's true.
It's a difference. And when you fighting and you got that, you never know how that changes your style. You get what I'm saying? It may change your style just because you don't want that re-injury. You think that was a tender eye that he messed up. Not taking nothing from him because he did what he did. And I do believe he could have won that fight without that, but it could have been different. Like, because me personally, I think that no different than when Floyd fought De La Hoya. I think when you get on the stage and everything is on the line, it takes you a minute to get that comfort. I seen that in Errol. Like, you could tell he was across seas. Because to me personally, I had Kell Brook winning like 4 of the 6 rounds out of the first 6 rounds. Me personally. But almost equal. Because to me, it's not enough of competition to people that they beat. That's why it would take at least a common opponent. Like the Kell Brook and Shawn, it still won't answer the question because I think Shawn has got way better since he fought Kell Brook. We don't know how that fight would go if they fought now.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard,
By the way, Shawn has joined us. What's up, Shawn?
What's up, guys? What's up, Fight Hype family?
Hey, Shawn, what's up, big man?
What's going on?
Well, let's get you caught up real quick. Why don't you share your thoughts on Shawn Porter's win, especially since you were in camp with Shawn and you got to get a lot of insight to the game plan. You saw him spar. What'd you think? Was that what you expected? Did that match up with what you saw?
Well, in my Emmanuel Stewart voice, the fight went exactly the way I thought it would. No, but but I thought that's my line. If I pick a fight right, I like to quote Emmanuel on that one. No, but yeah, I thought we talked about it before the fight. I thought that what surprised me first of all was how intelligent Shawn was able to be. But what didn't surprise me was that his character and his cardio and his work ethic pulled through, and in my opinion, got him a win over a guy who's probably a better boxer than he is. Probably has better boxing skills. But he proved that his boxing skills and his boxing brain are really underrated because in the early part of the fight, I think I heard a lot of people after the fight questioning why did he take time to get going? And it was because of Danny Garcia's counterpunching. Danny was fresh and strong early. And he made Shawn think twice about coming in. So what Shawn did around the third or fourth round, and Kenny talked about it with us afterwards, he started baiting the counters with his feet, with his feints, with his jab. And then he actually started to counter Danny Garcia's jab with his own right hand. So what he did was he had Danny Garcia, he made him think twice now because he wasn't one-dimensional and Garcia was one-dimensional. Garcia kept waiting on the counter all night. And then just a couple of counters from Shawn got Danny's respect to where he couldn't just rely on time in that same rhythm that Shawn was coming in with in the first 2 rounds. So I thought Shawn actually thought the best performance of his career was losing against Keith Thurman, but I disagree. This was the smartest fight of his career. This was the best fight of his career. Danny Garcia was in his prime, but I think he won this fight with his smarts, but he also won it because of his character. And I knew that would be the difference before the fight, was that when both guys got tired, Shawn would step on the gas more. And the truth was Danny fought like a guy who had held that belt twice already, who had held the green and gold twice already. And Shawn fought like a guy who never had it, who really wanted it. So, I mean, just hats off to Shawn Porter. Danny Garcia did not put in a poor effort, but he was out-hustled and outworked, and the right man definitely won. I was happy the judges got it right, because the crowd at Barclays was definitely there for Danny Garcia. And even though he was landing fewer shots, they were eye-catching. They would snap Shawn's head around. So I was happy Shawn got the credit for the body work that he deserved, and it was a good fight.
Yo, do you guys, and Shawn, you can kind of start off with this, and we'll just go around the room, but do you guys think that maybe it's time for Danny to make a change as far as trainers are concerned? And I only asked that because I wish I could remember who did the video, because I definitely would give them credit for it, but I saw it on Instagram. It was a video of Angel after the fight, and whoever it was, they asked him what was next, and Angel actually made the comment, "I don't know if I'm coming back." You know, he basically said that Danny, he felt like Danny wasn't listening to his voice in the corner, so he said he wasn't sure if he was going to be coming back. Do you guys think that would be a good look, that maybe Danny needs to, if not replace his dad, just to bring in another set of eyes?
I want to jump on that one first, fellas. This is a big one for me, and this is Saturday night. You know, I chop up on Facebook every fight night, and this was one of the big point of contentions that we were discussing in that whole chat thread. I mean, basically, I think without a doubt, you know, and some out there may not like this. It's nothing against Angel. I think Angel's funny as hell, great guy, great dad. But we're talking boxing, and we're talking the evolution of Shawn Porter. I'm sorry, of Danny Garcia. I think without a doubt, at this point, there is room for growth, and he's not going to get it with Angel in his corner. That's just my thoughts. You know, I love to hear you guys, but I think when you look at a guy that's technically sound like Danny, there's only a few wrinkles he really needs to iron out. Like, Danny's a solid fighter. But for whatever reason, the same things we saw that were issues for him.
Yes, Stacy, we can hear you. I'm not sure why you can't hear us.
Yeah, we hear you, Stacy. Yeah, the same things that I viewed as issues for Danny a couple years back, I think remain issues for Danny. So I think when that happens and you're fighting on the championship level, elite level, I think it's safe to say you've reached the ceiling in that tandem. That's my thoughts, guys. What do you guys think?
I think I heard. Oh, go ahead, Shawn.
Oh, no, go ahead, Rod.
I think I heard Teddy Atlas say, and I just want you guys' opinion on this. I think he said in terms of trainers, it's kind of like school. Like, you can't go to high school with your elementary school trainer. You can't go to college with your high school trainer. Your high school teacher, rather. I don't know if you guys agree with that statement, but I think that Danny needs to leave his father in camp. Ben, you and I spoke on this before. I think his dad doesn't need to leave camp. I think he just needs to kind of do what Mr. Porter did and just bring in another trainer just to get another look, just to do different things, because he's at a different echelon, you know. and kind of like what I think of Mayweather post Floyd Mayweather post Ricky Hatton when he wasn't getting the knockouts as often. I feel like he kind of like switched up in the second half of his career and basically kind of fought different. You know, in terms of basketball, I'm a casual basketball fan, so don't kill me for this, but I feel like
Kobe.
the second half of Kobe's career, he wasn't the same killer Kobe. He kind of like mastered that jumper and made that work for him. So I just think that that I don't want to see Danny leave the camp. I just want to see something added so they can just give Danny a few more looks.
And I would just add that it's I don't think it's really on Angel, because in the Keith Thurman fight and in the Shawn Porter fight, from what I saw, he was giving his son perfect instructions and the urgency that he needed to hear them with. Danny just didn't push the pedal to the metal like he needed to. Angel at some point after he gave him enough X's and O's, telling him to throw the right hand, he said, "Go out there and win the fucking championship of the world." And that spark, that fire that Danny had when he ate 6 or 7 punches from Amir Khan, but still had the heart to stay in there and hit him and eventually knock him out. I think that's what's been missing from Danny. And maybe it is he needs a different voice, or he needs another voice to get that kind of to fight with that kind of fire back. But it's not Angel's fault. I got to give Angel credit. He's honest with his son in the corner.
So let me throw this one out there then, because this came up in our last discussion, and actually I was the one that brought it up. That's just making it come back to memory now. When we look at the fight, one of the key subplots with Danny going in was, is Danny still hungry? Is this the Danny that we saw battle Matisse and damn near flawlessly? Is he still hungry, or has the silk pajama set in and got real comfy? What do you guys think about that?
I think it did, and I thought.
Go ahead.
I definitely think that is the case. I don't think he's a not motivated. I just don't think he's as hungry as Shawn Porter was, as Errol Spence is right now, even as guys like Lomachenko and Crawford. I don't think he was able to maintain the same hunger he got. That is something I asked him in Philly when Rockman was there too. We were at the Devin Haney fight in Philly. First question to him: "Are you still as hungry as the guy that became the king of super lightweight?" And of course he said yes, but I don't think that's been the case, and that definitely showed up Saturday night. He got out hustled by what was it, 300 punches? So,
wow.
Mm-hmm.
I have to disagree. I was in camp with him. He looks really, really hungry. When he lost the fight, you can see it in his face. I don't think I've ever seen Danny that devastated.
True.
He just looked devastated.
Mm-hmm.
So even when he lost to Keith Thurman, that was his first loss, and he lost his belt. He looked devastated this time, and I think he really, really wanted to get his belt back. And I don't think he wanted another L on that record. And
well, you know what now, and
I think he definitely wanted it, but just not as bad as his opponent.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask. He came in for a Shawn Porter that he didn't know he was going to run into. I mean, hell, to be honest, none of us knew that was going to be the version of Porter we saw. So, I mean, is it possible that maybe he underestimated Shawn to some level? I don't think he was the hungry Danny I've seen, but
time in. This is what I do. Going off of Ben, I do think that was one of his best performances, and I think it's one of them situations that he did fight. He fought a good fight, but I think that he honestly believed that he had won, and I believe that he did everything he could do. I really, truly believe that, because he fought.
Right.
He fought a good fight. It's one of them fights that I think he's gonna watch and then kick himself, because he's gonna be like, "Wow, I didn't know that." I think that he felt he was doing good because he was landing the king of punches. And you gotta think, we seeing this stuff with them blows, and a lot of times people do win fights in that situation. He felt that I'm landing the cleaner shots though, and then he felt that he was chasing them, but in reality he was getting outworked the whole time, but it probably wasn't actually hurting him. So he didn't look at it as effective. Do you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I think that he honestly thought that he won. I think he was sad because he truly believed he won, and he gave it everything that he possibly could. Because you got to think, that's to me, it's not the same as a Broner situation. I think that, because you got to think, we have seen Broner let his hands go. Danny has never been a fighter who just let his hands go like that. He always been a puncher like that. So it's like he just came in there with a different animal. I think that Danny probably would have beat anybody that night.
Yeah.
That night, he was strong. Shawn couldn't do what he wanted to with him physically. He was pushing him the way he wanted to. He looked confident the whole time. He never had a deterred look on his face. I mean, he just got outworked. You know, but he worked hard. He worked hard, and like I say, to be honest, and this is crazy, but it put me in the mind of when Hagler fought Sugar Ray, and I hope that don't happen, but he almost had a look of Hagler, like, I feel I was robbed and I might not fight again. And I hope that don't happen, because he did not lose to the point that he shouldn't box, and he did not get robbed to the point that he shouldn't box, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He should be trying to beg for a rematch that I'm pretty sure they probably wouldn't give him, and he's still in the mix. You got to think, Errol could fight Shawn Porter. We might not say that's next. He might fight Danny before he fight him, because it's still a money fight.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind him and Adrien Broner still.
Who?
That's the
Danny Garcia.
Oh, Danny and Adrien.
That's what I was saying, that's his fighting style, though. So, you know, you got to think. American to a point was outworking him until he landed that shot.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, he could get outworked, but he you know, Brandon Rios was trying to work. He still was the same, boom, boom, you know, and you got to think, he was hitting him with stuff that usually would get him out of there.
Mm-hmm.
They usually would get him out of there. And if anything deterred him, that could have did it. It was like the simulation of body shots he hit him with. When he hit with them 4 body shots, I think that was a turning point of the fight. I think that Danny was like, he's here to stay. Because I know you've seen him New York, when he boom, 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 boom. I mean, they were beautiful. All hard. And when somebody smiled at you after that to the body, it does something to you. It does. I mean, he still fought his fight, but I mean, them was brutal. It was probably the hardest punches of the fight, even harder than the head. Double left hook, his money punch hitting him. He right there. And then you got to think, like, he talked. He went out of his character. He bounced around. He tried to switch up. He did everything to win. Shawn Porter did everything he could do to win. And it just, like he said, he wasn't leaving without that belt.
Yeah,
he wasn't
you know
leaving
what,
without
fellas,
that belt. If Shawn lost, he would have cried, but he wanted it that bad.
The ironic thing about it is he lost, but that was one of his better performances.
Exactly. Real good. I think,
and I got a question.
And this is big. I think that same dude fight Thurman, he may could beat him that night, because he was on point. It's just Shawn has. You got to think, I'm watching the fight, and he had tricks for me. I didn't know what he was going to do. It was different.
What'd you say?
I have a question. Getting back to if there should be changes in the camp, who would you guys think would go well with DSG? Who do you think he should hire? What coaches out there do you think he should seek?
That's a good question. I don't know.
It's hard to answer that, because coaches, when we talk about coaches, like, okay, if we say Freddie Roach, the average person say, well, Freddie Roach, you know, he make people throw their hands. But no, he don't make people that don't throw their hands throw their hands. No. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, these coaches need fighters with certain qualities to blossom.
I think it's a very, very small list, to be honest. I think when you look at the technical nature of Danny Garcia, you have to put him you have to put someone in his corner who understands the technical nature.
And I don't think his dad,
the cerebral. No, his dad. Look, I don't want to disrespect anybody. I like Angel, but Angel's not the guy for that job at this stage.
Exactly.
No.
When it comes to dad, father thing.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not saying his dad
like to share their son.
I'm not saying his dad has to leave his corner. His dad could stay in the corner, But his dad, someone else needs to take the forefront and take over that corner. But here it goes. Even
couldn't get two
beyond
brothers to do it. It's difficult.
Yeah, well, listen, even beyond that, I think it's less about. See, we're putting all the emphasis on who's in the corner fight night. I think you have to have a certain mentality, a certain element present when it comes to actually preparing that fighter for that 6 to 8 weeks or whatever. Someone like a Virgil Hunter, I think, and I don't know how they would gel, but Virgil Hunter, I'll tell you another name no one is thrown out, but this is right at home. Brother Nazeem Richardson.
Yeah, I think that's
very good.
Yeah, I like him.
I think he would be a damn good option for.
What about?
Do y'all think the coach is the problem?
No.
Do y'all think the coach is the problem, or is what Shawn Porter really said? It's kind of hard to coach. I mean, he did fight, Thurman, and he's elite at this point. And then you got Shawn, but even if anybody trained in that night, he wouldn't have been prepared for that.
Well,
here's where I disagree, guys. Like I said earlier in the broadcast, there are certain elements in Danny's game that I saw as weaknesses years back that I still see as weaknesses. Somebody that's a little more technically savvy can help him fix that over the course of an 8-week fight camp.
Oh yeah.
So I think that I think it's less emphasis on what happens fight nights and more about who's behind his back and in his face, I should say, for those 6 to 8 weeks during camp.
So are you saying more of not changing his style, but tuning up what he got?
He only needs to fine tune. Danny can box.
Okay, I know what you're saying. Okay, on that. Yeah.
What about a trainer down there in Florida where you're at,
John David
Jackson?
Hey, I like John David. I don't know that this is the job for him, though. No.
I think the Kovalev relationship, I feel like it took something out of John or something. I don't know.
Very, very possible. Very possible. Look, John is a great trainer in his own way, but I just think I think Danny, I'm just thinking personalities now. When I look at the two personalities, I think Brother Nazeem Richardson or the the glove whisperer out there on the West Coast, Virgil Hunter. Either one of those two, I think, gets it done.
I think Robert Garcia would even be a good fit, but just no matter who Danny would go with, would he use his jab more? Would he learn to cut the ring? These guys will probably try and teach him these things, alter some things, but would he listen and actually implement it in the fight is the question. He's 30 years old. But you make a good point, V. What the thing is, it's not an overhaul you have to do with Garcia. It's just a couple of little tweaks, and he probably beat Shawn Porter.
Let me tell you something. Like I sit. I mean, it's easy to do this sitting outside of the ring, but
he is what he is.
Looking that there were opportunities the other night where Porter was faint. Look, and I know this isn't Mayweather. I get it, guys, but I'm going to go there. There were points where Porter was fainting, and you saw it. He if you look at the video, he actually formed a cadence at some point with his feints. If Garcia was really, really interested in shooting that jab, even if it was just to disrupt his progress, the jab was there. A couple other punches were there. I think he missed a lot of opportunities.
Shawn, to his credit, did go over the top with his right hand a few times when Danny did try the jab. To Shawn's credit, yeah, he did.
And to Shawn's credit, when you see them feints opposed to the next person feint, when you known as a bull rusher, them feints really work a lot.
Right.
Because you know him coming in. So a lot of times when he fainted, he'd catch Danny would swing that hook expecting him to come in and hit nothing because he wouldn't come in. And that was a good part of the game. It was Tracy Pacquiao with that feint. That
right. They don't bite on that feint.
But it was something that you got to think every time he usually do that. It is no feint. He boom and he in. But he'd feint, bam. Then he'd try to catch him with something else. And to be honest with Danny, and like he said, old habits is hard to go. And it's not a bad habit, but he's a counter puncher. So when we really was calling the fight last time, remember I told you, V, I said, he could box. He could box more than he puts on. But as he said, but would he stick to it? I figured that he would get hit with one of them hooks and he would just stay in that zone of I'm just going to do this. And I thought for that reason, Danny would have a favor, but he threw it for a loop when he tried to box, and then he didn't try to box, and then he went in, and then he fainted. And then, like I say, he was switching up. He just did a lot of stuff, man. It didn't look as pretty as somebody else, but I seen what he was doing. And to me, it was like, I don't know. I don't even know how you define the name of that style. So it's kind of hard to, I don't know. It's kind of hard to decode it. Actually, he's creating a style of his own. Because it's like,
it's his own.
Y'all notice this? Did you notice that he took pieces of Thurman's idea to beat him, of how Thurman beat him? Because Thurman said in himself that I would make him believe I'm coming in. Then I'll stick him with something. He was doing that. He made him believe he was coming in just to get the jabs off. And then, you know, technically with the jabs that you compared to power punches, you almost want to say, wow, he was the better boxer that night. Not just outworked him. He outlanded him with jabs, and you know he's moving his head. It was
counter puncher a few times.
Yep. Yeah, he confused Danny a few times, and to me, it takes some boxing skills to do that.
But did
All
you
I
guys?
know, if I'm Danny, you know, I'm getting the dirt off my shoulder. Hey, look, he didn't win. He didn't win the belt, but guess what? He doesn't have to fight Spence. You know, there's other hey, look, he don't have
mindset of a champ.
There's there's other.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
You know what I mean? He could come back fighting maybe a Granados or Devin Alexander. And if he gets past those guys, I would personally love to see him, you know, sell out the Barclays Center with Adrien Broner, or maybe even Andre Berto.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Spence was fighting anybody.
I do not want to see him. Wait, I cannot see him. And I ain't gonna lie. I used to want to see that fight. I could not see him and Broner fight because between the both of them,
Stacy?
They're not busy enough, man.
Okay.
Stylistically, you make a point. But they'll probably sell the Barclays out. We could hope for a good fight.
I mean,
stylistically, you make a good point.
I want to see Broner fight. Hey, did y'all see Khan? I would like to see Broner fight Khan.
Yeah. That would be dope.
Stacy, did you get my text?
A lot of punches.
Stacy, did you get my text?
Fellas, let's I just heard.
Hey V.
Yo,
I had to ask you guys, man. Did you guys see how the truth, Errol Spence, was tipsy at the fights?
Tipsy is that the right word to use?
His ass was gone. You said.
Yeah, he was gone, bro. Honestly, you know what?
Wasn't just him.
Like what I saw.
It wasn't just him.
Of course. It wasn't.
Can I say something in their favor? I'm just giving it.
They was at a party. It was.
Okay.
They was
maybe they should have been in the camera, but in their favor, I mean, you know, it was a celebration.
Yeah,
right.
You know, the big deal. They are off work. It's just, I mean, hey, just a little too, because you know, maybe a little too much, but hey, you know, they was having a good time. And to be honest,
I have a question.
And they said it was a fun night. They said that night was fun, though. Everybody was there.
It was.
To you guys, especially you older guys.
Oh, wait a minute. What's that mean? Who's the older guys?
No, I mean,
I just gotta say real quick though, Rock, you ain't beating Terence Crawford drinking at the fights. Not beating the best fighter in the world if you're drinking at the fights. And I think
Hey, let me tell you a secret, man. Let me tell you a secret. Terence Crawford is probably Terence Crawford, Shawn Porter, probably the active boxers not drinking.
Say it again.
So
can you be at?
He's probably the only active fighter not drinking.
Right. Shawn Porter and Terence Crawford.
Can you last at that top level and drink and go out and celebrate like that?
It depends on who you are. Depends on who you are. I mean, some fighters. Listen, let's not act like guys like Aaron Pryor, you know, Alexis Arguello, you know. I mean, Pacquiao at one point was a heavy drinker. It just depends on who you are and who, you know. Mike Tyson had his vices. You know, it just depends on who you are. Can you last? Not to your I mean, you're not going to last until your 40s. You're not going to last until your late 30s. I mean, that definitely takes a toll on you.
Ben, we were talking about this earlier, man. Mm-hmm. Terence Crawford's cut from that Andre Ward, Floyd Mayweather, Bernard Hopkins cloth. I agree. You know,
I agree.
I don't think you beat guys like that.
Listen, let me tell you something. Let me say something, guys. When I was speaking, I didn't get into the full thing, but when we were talking earlier about Crawford versus Spence and that whole scenario. That's why I said, even for Crawford, I feel like he has a better chance than something. Spence is an incredible fighter, but I'm starting that veil of invincibility that I thought he had on him. I don't think at this stage. I think somebody like Crawford, who's dedicated to his craft, who's very intelligent in the ring, high ring IQ, very cerebral. You know, it's the Tom Brady effect. Those guys get a lot more done with a lot less. He doesn't have the Mayweather speed. He doesn't have a lot of the gifts and attributes, but he knows how to win.
I think seeing Spence intoxicated takes away some of that aura of invincibility.
It did. For me, it actually did. It really did.
And I know I'm holding him to almost, unreasonable standards, but when you want to be the best fighter in the world, it's the kind of standards we got to hold you to sometimes.
I think for longevity, but I personally know him, and I gotta say that a person. I'm not making an excuse, but we gotta see it. Was that because of the celebration of that night, or is it after a celebration? Opposed to being one step from being an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the same time, and I'm not saying names, but when you're drinking and your weight is 40 pounds over and all that type of stuff, that's when it becomes real bad. Because when you see Errol, even months after he fight, he's still solid. He's not flabby. You know what I'm saying? He's
Right.
still like to a point kind of in shape, opposed to a person that's drinking. And like I said, we won't say names, but we can put it together. People are big, their face is big, their head's big. You're like, you're 50 pounds overweight. Now you taking your training camp and spending more time losing your weight than getting better. See, that's the advantage of not drinking and partying is Terence Crawford is trying to bring something new to his game all the time. When you drinking, it ain't that you can't win, but you can't advance. You're going to see something different with Terence Crawford and those Andre Ward-like people. You got to think, the fact that Andre Ward don't drink is when he beat Kovalev one time, he came with a whole different system the next time because he had a chance to focus completely on his craft and not losing weight.
Right.
And that was Floyd's biggest thing is Floyd will tell a fighter quick that, you shouldn't come into the gym out of shape. You should be probably 10 pounds over, and be working on your craft and your weight to come off anyways. But when you focus on getting your weight off, in a month or 2 months, it's like you're not really learning nothing because you gotta get the weight off first. So I mean, of course, it definitely hinder you, but I mean, a lot of athletes do drink.
Stacey, I can't see your face. I just see your hand.
Yeah, no, I agree with what Stacey was saying totally. Fellas, you know what, though? I just realized we're at the top of a new hour, and I want to take this opportunity to kind of segue into what we got going on this weekend.
Actually, I don't like what you about to talk about Canelo Golovkin.
Absolutely, why not?
Yeah, because we're gonna do another show. I'd almost rather do that on a different day because there was just so much stuff that went on.
This fight do that a lot.
I mean, we haven't even talked about Errol Spence and his classic speech about Terence Crawford. There was a lot of stuff that went on. We'll save Canelo Golovkin for another show.
I thought even though Errol probably made a fair point when he said he would stop everybody that Terence Crawford would fight, I thought it was kind of weak that I know he's just telling it like it is. He's just telling us the business side of this, but you're the fighter, not the businessman. I mean, he didn't even see. I asked him actually. I said, "Are you getting frustrated at all that you're not getting the best fights?" And he says, "I get paid good even if I knock out a bum." Not exactly what I want to hear from the best welterweight in the game. I just thought it was a little bit weak how he was buying into the political thing. What I want to hear from the fighters as a fan is them doing everything in their power to make the fight the fans want to see. I understand if you're trying to speak in reality and tell us how it really is, but that's just my take on it. Let the businessmen be businessmen. You be a fighter and put your best foot forward. But to make the fight we want to see.
But Shawn, real quick, I want to know, and first of all, Shawn Black, whoever you are in the comment section, you're a dick too. What
is that?
I don't know. He just said Ben's a dick. I don't know. I guess because I wasn't talking about Canelo Golovkin. We'll get to Canelo Golovkin. I want to finish touching on everything that happened over the weekend. But Shawn, no, I just wanted. I'm more curious to know, and Rahman, you can kind of chime in too. Like, why exactly did Spence launch into the attack on Terence Crawford? I mean, I saw the press conference, that he was answering questions. I don't recall too many questions about Terence Crawford. It looked like he was done speaking. He was about to get off the podium. And then he said, well, real quick, before I step down, I got this to say about Terence Crawford. And then he went on like an 8-minute diatribe about Terence Crawford's, resume not being good and this, that, and the other. Why do you think that happened that night?
Because the liquor, blame
The
it on
liquor.
the alcohol. Hey man, look, your feelings and the truth come out when you sipping, man.
Yep.
Hey, real quick.
I love it. I love it.
Drunk
Real
man don't
quick.
tell no lie.
Real quick, just to clarify, because I saw somebody say this in the comments. They said we're just saying that Spence was drinking because Bud Crawford said he was drunk in his tweet. Shawn, you were there. Rockman, you were there. You saw Javante. You saw Adrien. I mean, I've got videos that I have not even posted because I felt like they were a little bit too bad. So
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure. Again, I can't confirm that they were drinking because obviously I didn't see them putting alcohol in their mouth, but I can usually tell when someone's been drinking. So is it safe to say that those guys were drinking that night?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. Everybody that was there knew it.
Right.
That was in the press room, that was there. And hey, I mean, like Stacey said, they're celebrating a big deal.
Yeah. No, just to clarify, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with drinking. There's nothing wrong with having a good time. But I just
It's
want to
becoming a more common occurrence, though.
Right. No, I just want to put it into context so we can talk about why some of the things were being said. I mean, like I said, normally when we see Errol Spence do a press conference, it's usually just very reserved and whatnot. But he really did kind of lash out at Terence Crawford. And then obviously Adrien Broner was on the side. He was kind of, egging it on a little bit, not egging it on, but just kind of, just cheerleading from the side. And it definitely, you could definitely tell they were having a good time that night.
But you see how Terence he doesn't go the politics route. He goes, hey, whoever's the A side, whatever network we fight on, let's make it. I just appreciate Terence's attitude.
I mean, Terence sometimes he does sometimes play the, I mean, I've heard him speak kind of in that same political tone that Errol Spence spoke in last night. I was just, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. There's nothing wrong with being political and saying certain things because it's true. I mean, it is what it is. But I'm just more surprised at the attack on Terence Crawford's resume, which I felt like, I mean, I get, I don't even get it. I understood what Errol Spence was trying to say, but his comments on some of Terence Crawford's opponents, you could say the same.
Spence. I mean, give credit to Shawn Porter for calling him out and saying he wants an immediate match. But prior to this, nobody has really called Spence out.
Mikey called him out.
He's in the best weight class. There's more. I guess there's more top fighters in that weight class than any of them. And to his defense, nobody wants to fight Errol Spence.
Nobody wants to fight Bud either, though. It's not like Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman and Shawn Porter are banging down Lou DiBella and Al Heyman's door like we need this Crawford fight, and then
Jose Benavidez does.
Well, that leads me to a question. Is there enough people on that side of the fence to, I don't know, give Crawford the competition that he needs? And I don't know. Maybe you can answer. Is he gonna lose his luster by being on that side and not having the Shawn Porters, the Danny Garcias, the Keith Thurmans to fight? I mean, he has
he'll be okay,
but it doesn't seem like Pacquiao wants that fight.
Stacey?
I think that they can make something happen. They can make something happen.
But
I understand what Errol's saying.
Fight. What do you guys think?
What were you saying, Stacey?
I said I think anything can happen. I mean, if it's to the demand. But like I said, me personally, this is how I see it going. I see Thurman probably fighting. I mean, Errol pretty much probably eventually gonna fight Shawn, probably fight Mikey. But I don't think he's ever going to be the undisputed champion because of his weight. I just think that it's going to come a waiting period of time for him that he's going to have to go up to get a big check.
Who,
I
Spence?
just really believed it.
Spence?
Yeah, I really believed it. I don't think him and Thurman probably would ever fight. It sounds crazy, but
I agree.
I don't see it happen. I think within the next 2 years, he's going to dabble and get to some money because he's a sought-after fighter. You know, Top Rank already said he's interested. Bob Arum already said he's interested. But, you know, like we said, on that level, it could be smoke and mirrors for that because it's no different than Deontay Wilder and Joshua. All that stuff about them fighting, which is not going to happen because nobody's going to make the money from a pay-per-view in America. So it was a way to make him more famous. So now people are going to pay more attention to Deontay Wilder. Same thing with Terence Crawford. It's more of talk. Will he fight people on the other side of the fence? Yeah, but we got common sense. Bob Arum's not putting all his things in the basket with Errol Spence, and they not at that status that is worth losing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not right now. It's not enough money on the floor. It's not enough money on the floor for them to make that happen with his only. You know what I'm saying? His only. You know, big name is young. His, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So now, like you say, he could throw Pacquiao in there. If the numbers right, you know, Pacquiao go with anybody, which we might see right now.
Crawford. Pacquiao's
right
I don't want to see that fight personally. I don't
want to see it.
No, I don't want to see that fight. No.
I
I think there's bigger things for both guys to do. I would like to see Crawford starting to mix it up with some of the relevant guys, the bigger name guys at 47, which I think will happen sometime in 19. Pacquiao, I just want to see fight Lomachenko, to be honest. That's the only fight I want to see Pacquiao in before he walks.
But I think Rahman's got a point, though. It's going to be tough for Terence to find quality opponents to top rank. But I do think that Jose Benavidez might be more quality than a lot of us are giving him credit for. I know Benavidez lost in a lot of people's eyes to Herrera, but he was about 22, 21 years old.
Man, that leg, man. You hear me? That leg, though, is a problem, man. You need your legs a lot in boxing, man, especially against likes of elite fighter, man. That's going to play a major part. And it's not fully healed. He said that himself, that it's still complications. And you need to be 100% ready for a person like that. 100%. You need your legs, man. Because you got to think Terence Crawford is a guy that he could do you from the back end or the front end. If he know a weakness in you, he going to press you. And he going to know when to press you. And you're going to need them legs. But he can fight, though.
Well,
like, I think he's a good opponent.
I think he's got some tools that could surprise people. You know, he has a very fast set of hands, faster than people might think. And he's got a good jab, and he's got some size on Terence. Maybe to make up for some of his legs not having that spring in them, he could try and walk Terence down, but good luck trying to walk down a guy as good, as skilled as Terence. But I just think with his size, his hand speed, he's only 26, that I don't think he's going to beat Terence Crawford, but I'm actually hopeful that he can put on a good performance and put himself in the mix with the Garcias and the guys on that tier right after Terence and Errol.
Yeah. And then back to the like you said about the attack on Terence. To me, this is why I thought it was a little out of line. Is he got one fight at 147, man. I mean, it's not like he's just mauling people at 147, so it was kind of confusing how much you would knock out all his components. I would hope you would knock out 140 and 135 pounders and you walking around and you could easily be a middleweight. Like, let's just be real here. Like, and I love Errol, but I mean, I didn't understand it. I'm like, why? I mean, okay, we understand y'all making a fight, but about the opponents he fought this and that and the other. I'm like, you're talking about, you know, little guys compared to you. That's a big man, you know, and anybody else that's not his size would at least speak of a weight higher than that. At least would speak of it because he still could do Mikey. He could still say, well, let me go up here, and then I still could be at 147 because there's money there. Because at the end of the day, I mean, I come from the old school. You chase the money in this boxing game. If I could reach you, I'm getting to you. If you feel you're great, Floyd was 135 begging to fight in 147 because that's where the money was at.
Yeah.
So and if we was to say an argument, I said, well, he actually said he would fight Errol Spence when he was 140 pounds. So, just like 135 is calling out Errol Spence. So when you get that top dog status, we want to hear you call out somebody that, not that nobody is competitive in 147. We want to call out somebody that will surprise us. Like, now that's a fight. Because now people just think he just gonna slaughter anybody at 147. So if you're that dominant, you should probably see what's up somewhere else.
Well, in Errol's defense, he did mention Canelo's name at one time.
Hey, I was just gonna say Canelo.
Yeah, I remember that a while ago.
Yep.
I mean, but he didn't mention his name for 8 minutes.
But
he ain't mentioned all them opponents he fought that wasn't top notch.
That's true.
See, because this is what y'all don't understand. When they say who is who, this goes for Errol and everybody. You have to think it's the beginning of a new era. So they talk about who is who. Nobody is nobody. Y'all making the name.
Right.
The names are gone.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. Very true.
You got to think it's not Terence Crawford fought that when he went to 140 and dominated that division. Did most people from that division went up to 147?
Danny was already gone. Yep.
Bradley was gone. Khan was gone.
Yep.
So I mean, when he went to 140, I don't think he went there because they left.
Right.
It's almost like he trying to chase to him because he, like I say, the great ones, get me to where the money is. And you got to think he came from 135, and his plans is to try to go up too when he get a chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and like I said, I do like Errol, but as on a promotion of a fight, trust me, you can ask for a Canelo fight, and if you talk about it like you talk about Terence and these stuff, trust and believe that fight is possible, because we all know that Canelo definitely needs an opponent to make a pay-per-view thing go on. It takes two, and he's one.
And not just that, but Canelo's a little middleweight. He's only about 5'8", 5'9". I don't think if Canelo wins on Saturday, Oscar is going to be rushing to put him in there with a Jamal Charlo or Danny Jacobs or Billy Joe Saunders.
No, he's going to be rushing to put him in there with a third fight with Triple G.
Right.
I agree.
But I do think Cowboy Stadium could be sold out by Canelo and Spence. And I think Oscar knows that. Yeah.
I don't know about sold out, man. Sold out is hard, man.
Right. Well, 50, 60,000. They could fill it up pretty good.
Real quick.
I mean, I believe him and Mikey will do good there.
Ooh, I don't know about that, but real quick.
Like 30?
Straight Drop in the comments section said that the reason why Errol Spence went off is because Bomac said Errol was living paycheck to paycheck. And I think Errol did mention that when he was going off, but I'm still confused as to why he took that moment to talk about Terence Crawford. Like I said, I just don't remember. And you guys were there, Shawn and Rockman. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I just don't remember there being that much talk about Terence Crawford when they were asking questions. I feel like all the talk was about Shawn Porter and Mikey Garcia, and it was actually Errol that inserted. I mean, someone just might have mentioned Terence Crawford's name briefly, but I feel like it was Errol that, for whatever reason, felt like he had to get that off his chest.
And that was a good stage. I mean, it was after a big fight in the welterweight division for a big title, so he took advantage of that.
But why didn't he take advantage of it of building up his next fight?
He doesn't have a next fight.
You got to think. He said all of that. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Rockman, he said all of that, but in the same sentence said that fight ain't going to happen. You're on the wrong side of the fence. So what's the point of talking about it?
That's true.
You got a great point. That's
you got two fights right there.
Bill's buzz. Just like, just Floyd and Manny were not fighting each other for years, but just having to mention them possibly fighting kept the buzz going and going.
The buzz, but that's different.
You can't compare that same thing because Floyd was holding real cards. He was really an A side of the league, so a lot of that stuff they knew it could happen. You got to think Errol or Terence Crawford don't got the power to make that happen.
Right.
No.
Fellas, let me.
Go ahead.
Boy, he did.
Go ahead, V.
Floyd's talking to the bosses.
I'm looking in the comment section. Coon
Oh,
Yeezy.
my phone.
That's a hell of a name. But he mentioned an interesting point. He was saying basically that
Hey,
he
my
thinks
phone down.
Spence is his boy, but basically he thinks Spence gets his head knocked off by Canelo because Spence gets hit too easy. Let's go back to Errol Spence again and this whole veil of invincibility that he seems to have.
I'm gonna come right back to my phone.
Okay.
I don't think he has a
I
style
think
that's going to carry up as well as a Terence Crawford. Stylistically, the way what Spence does effectively at welterweight, I don't know if he can carry that up as effectively as other fighters like Terence Crawford carry their styles up.
I don't think so. Not dealing with men his size. No.
I mean, he was asking that he was saying that he thinks Spence would be in some trouble against Canelo. I mean, on paper, breaking down their styles, that makes sense. Canelo loves a guy coming at him where he could throw counter punches. We don't know if Spence can do other things, but for the most part, Spence is just fundamentally sound, in amazing shape, and breaks you down to the body and goes forward off the jab. So, but if he tries to fight like that, moving up 13 pounds against Canelo, who might be one of the best defensive fighters, one of the best counter punchers in the game, it might not go well for him. But it would make an action fight. So
It would be a great fight, but I honestly, and I might be in a minority here, at 54, I totally lean Canelo in that fight.
I think Canelo would make him come up to 60. Oscar and Canelo would
Well,
make
you know what? I'm sorry. I'm not thinking. I meant 60. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Well, ideally, that's where it would happen. But, Oscar and Canelo they'll make Spence go up to 65 if they want. So
I can't believe we're talking about Spence Canelo or Canelo Spence. If that was to happen, I'd be so disgusted. If he jumps over both Charlo brothers, Jacobs, and calls out Spence, I don't know. That's trash. That's trash.
I think you might be disgusted in the future, Rock. Because I think Jamal Charlo, he said this before. Remember that picture the two Charlos took with Canelo years ago where they towered over him? Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that plays a role in Oscar's decision making, man. Canelo's not a big guy. He's strong, he's sturdy, but he's only 5'9".
I like Spence's shot against Canelo. I would favor Canelo, but I like Spence's chances against Canelo. What did you guys think of my boy Amir Khan's fight with Samuel Vargas?
I didn't see it, but Khan got some of the fastest hands I've ever seen. I'm gonna just give him that. But I didn't see the fight.
You didn't see highlights from it?
I saw him get dropped, and then I saw him drop him back in the 9th round, I think it was. He dropped Sammy Vargas.
Yeah. He dropped Sammy Vargas early. I think he dropped him in second round,
second
round, third round. I think he dropped him in the 3rd round too. But he also got buzzed again in like the 10th round or something like that. So yeah, I know he's talking about fighting Pacquiao. Is that good or bad for him?
I mean, that's a good fight for him. I mean, he's gonna put hands on anybody he fights. It's just a question of will they get to him and knock him out before the 12 rounds are over.
You think that's a good fight? I think you should watch the Samuel Vargas fight and reassess your opinion on that.
But if you get
I think that's just a showcase fight. I mean, that reminds me of that fight that happened on YouTube a couple weeks ago. It's not meaningful. Like, nobody wants to see Amir Khan. It's just like Amir Khan's fans versus Pacquiao's fans. Mm-hmm. I don't think that gets us anywhere as a sport. I really don't. Maybe 3-4 years ago, yeah, but now it's just like, I don't care about that fight.
Manny Pacquiao does have a title.
No, I could care less about that one too. Honestly, right now, Khan is looking to grab the money bags. I get it. I don't want to see that fight. I have zero interest in that fight.
Let him take the L to Kell Brook already.
Exactly.
Let's just get it over with.
He don't want to fight Kell Brook.
Because he doesn't want to give that one guy the satisfaction of beating him. I really think that Khan, I think he probably really doesn't like Kell Brook. And he's a fighter. Of course he thinks he would win, but just the fact that there's a real chance he would lose, I think that's the one guy he doesn't want to give bragging rights to.
Amir told me once upon a time when he was actually still talking to me, he told me that He didn't want to give Brook the payday. Is the reason why.
Wow.
Well, it's getting to the
That
point
that sounds like a scared guy to me, Ben. I'm sorry.
No, it don't. When I say American, and I'm just gonna throw it out there, man. American, man, is that pot shot is cool, but after that night, even though it's crazy because he won the fight, probably pretty much most of the fight. But the thing about it is, that night, man, it's like I think he more finna be on the gateway level, man.
Yeah,
gatekeeper type of deal. I think he's
agreed.
He's falling into that, man, because I don't put him in the mix no more. And the Kell Brook American fight was interesting at a time. When American was, pretty much on it this close to being a pay-per-view fighter. I don't what y'all think of American? Like okay, we say Porter, we say Thurman, we're gonna say them five. What I mean,
lost.
It's not even something that you want. It's like, it's almost like he's a tune-up for Errol Spence. If you like, I'm being honest. And,
him and Crawford might be interesting.
No, that's a loss.
It's a loss. I said interesting.
What would be interesting? What would be interesting for? First of all, the Brook fight is still interesting. It's a big fight in the UK, and that's really the only fight he should be taking.
What about a rematch with Garcia?
Adrien Broner.
No, Adrien Broner. Adrien Broner. Thank you, Rockman.
Or a rematch with Garcia.
Nah, that's a loss too. That's another knockout. Adrien Broner, I think, is a good fight because I honestly couldn't tell you who wins that fight. Have no idea.
I would love to see that. I would love to see that because they styles match so much by him busy and
move your
what's
hand,
the name
Stacey.
not busy.
I said, move your hand. I can't see you.
Yeah, I said that. I think that's an interesting fight, man, and for Adrien Broner, like I said last time, at the end of the day, he is the name of that division. Even though, like he said, 144, but still, like that's still the fight that people will pay to see is Adrien Broner, and it is a name. And it's a toss-up, but I would pick Broner.
He ain't.
I don't think Broner throws his hands enough.
Yes,
but I think Broner will have more confidence against him.
Man, Broner,
I don't,
Broner,
and that's saying a lot. Look. Let me end this argument right now. We can move on to something else after I say this. Straight up,
Debate.
You let Khan. One thing I will give Khan is some fast hands. You let Khan put them fast hands in Broner's face and get Broner afraid to get up in there. Broner can be gun shy too, where he go through these long spurts without throwing much.
Broner would have to stop him
with them 1-2s. I don't think Broner's gonna keep advancing, man. It's crazy.
Broner would have to stop him.
I actually like American in that fight.
It'd be a fun fight. It'd be a fun fight because we know
that's why it's a good fight. That's why it's a good fight.
Because we know Khan's gonna be winning rounds.
To everybody.
Look, this is what it comes down to, guys. How many guys have definitively beat Khan boxing? Broner's not going to knock him out. So if it goes 12 rounds, I like Khan all day in that one, guys.
Yeah, it's just a fun fight because I agree with you. I think Khan's going to be winning rounds, but we also know Broner can punch, and he's strong late in fights. So I imagine Broner would be way down on the cards. But late in the fight, it would have some drama because that's usually when Broner throws some of his best punches. Dropped Shawn Porter in the last round, dropped Emmanuel Taylor in the last round. So I think it'd be I'm with you, though, V. I think I'd give the edge to Khan just because I don't trust that Broner would push on the gas enough and get him out of there.
He would need a knockout.
Yeah, yes, he would. But I think it would, down the stretch, it'd be looking like he might get one. So
I would love to see it, though. I would love to see that. I think that's a great thing for Broner. I wish he had pushed for it.
Real quick, V. We'll get to Canelo Golovkin. We will close out on that. But we are going to do another show about Canelo Golovkin for sure. But real quick, I just want to kind of go around the room again and find out Who? I mean, obviously they're talking about Shawn Porter fighting Errol Spence next. I don't think that fight is actually going to happen next. I think Errol's probably going to end up fighting something like a Ugas, or maybe Shawn might even fight Ugas before Errol and Shawn actually fight. But playing matchmaker, who do you think Danny Garcia should fight next?
Adrien Broner.
Adrien Granados.
Adrien Granados.
Wow.
Or Jesse Vargas. Jesse Vargas would be a good fight.
Jesse Vargas.
You know what? Let me say this, fellas. Garcia, correct me if I'm wrong. He's coming off of Thurman, Rios, Porter.
Yep.
I think he's going to go back to, and no fault of his, but I think he's going to land back in that cherry picker category. He's going to take a fighter or two that's not in the big leagues. I really think he's going to take a minute to shake the cobwebs and get his head right.
Who would you put? But pretend like you're Al Heyman.
I think we're not going to see him for a year. That's personally what I believe.
Yeah, if he genuinely wants to take it to the next level and remain at that level, I think he's going to have to stay active, which means he's going to fight some guys that's going to be good for rounds, but not necessarily threats. But Stacy mentioned
you
a
guys
good point.
don't like that Granados
After
fight?
he
I think
lost his Thurman.
That's a good one, Rock.
But I'm just
What we
saying.
say?
About Devin Alexander.
That's a good one too, Rock. That's what I'm getting
I'll
at.
take
and
Alexander.
That's kind of what I wanted to know is put your Al Heyman hat on. Obviously, you know the business side of the sport, and there's certain things you want to do if you want to get Danny Garcia another win. Who do you think you should put Danny Garcia in?
Victor Ortiz.
How about Andre Berto?
Berto, I like that.
Victor Ortiz.
Victor Ortiz is tied up. Victor
I
Ortiz
like
got to fight, right?
Berto, I
John
like
Molina.
Alexander.
Right.
That's for
I mean,
how about
me
Collazo?
personally,
I mean, they're both Puerto Rican Americans.
So,
Collazo's from Brooklyn.
Collazo. Yep.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
yeah, that's a good one.
That's a
That's a
real
good
good
one.
one. That's a real good one, Rock.
But me personally, I don't know. But how long was he off at the Thurman? Because he was off for a while. It's
he
almost
basically has
like-
had
11
two
months.
fights in. Yeah, I mean,
11 months.
like you said, he's 30. I think he need to get right back in there. And for some reason, I don't know, man. I don't know if he's coming right back in there. In case he watched that fight and accepted, he that he fought good, but he lost. I think he has to accept that first. I think long as he believes he won that fight, we might not see him for a while, man. I truly believe that. It was a look in his eyes, man, of like Rockman said, it was a look of like he truly believed he was robbed, man. And then his father, verified it later. I don't even need to fight no more, man. There's some bullshit and all that stuff,
Remember,
Then when they asked him what's next for you, he said, "Man, I don't know."
Remember, Ben,
I don't know. Like, I don't know who's next. Like, I don't know if I'm doing this anymore.
Right.
Damn.
So hopefully, like I said, hopefully that's not it. To me, he is still at the top with him. But do y'all believe this? Do y'all believe if because you this Danny
side, and we're gonna talk to Al Heyman. It's gonna happen when it's gonna happen. That's what Danny. That's my Danny Garcia.
He sounds just like
I'm a true champion. I'm the A side. So they said I didn't want to fight Matisse either. So
has Danny ever ducked anybody? Has he ever ducked anybody?
Not really.
Yeah.
What do you consider a duck?
Always the underdog.
That's what I was going to say, V. What do you consider a duck?
Well, not fight somebody that was obviously the next opponent or a person that was in line and he just kind of went sideways. I mean, he fought Matisse when Matisse was red hot. Amir Khan, he was up there when he fought Amir Khan. Amir Khan was doing well.
He got some names under there, but it goes back to what you said. That was that was before on the A side. As a B side, he was a different animal.
Yeah. Well, Anyway, just curious. V, should we touch on Canelo Golovkin a little bit? Just a little bit. Just a little.
You know, I wasn't thinking. I know that there's some discussion about doing some closer to fight time, but I don't think it's gonna hurt. I do agree that we don't want to give too much away just yet because we're gonna chop that one up in more ways than one. So,
but it is fight week kicks off tomorrow. Shawn, you're gonna be at the grand arrivals.
I got a hunch this guy right here gonna win the fight. Okay,
Canelo.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, when he fought that, when he had his cardio, right? And I get it, ifs and buts. You know, if my aunt had a dick, she'd be my uncle. But when his cardio was right and he kept the fight in the center of the ring, basically when he didn't take a breather and take himself to the ropes, I thought at times he almost made the fight look easy. In the center of the ring.
Easy.
But the problem was there was about 5 or 6 rounds where he just would take whole minutes off of a round and just allow Golovkin to jab him. Golovkin was a little too slow to really consistently get anything landing outside of the jab. And then in the center of the ring, again, that's where Canelo was the better fighter. So I think if Canelo can just keep the fight in the center of the ring and do what he did well in the first fight more consistently, he'll win the fight. I think he's going to win the fight.
I go for Canelo, but because I don't think what's name can bring too many things to this game, but from different outlets, YouTube, sure it's on Fighthype. They're speaking on how he broke a rib and he's working more on the body, and I think that's something that he don't do a lot. He didn't do a lot that night, and that might play a major part in slowing him down. That's the only thing I can see him bringing different to his game plan. I don't think he's finna switch up nothing, but maybe he will go to the body more, which will, take a little bit out of them legs. But besides that, because of the youth and because of the skill set, Canelo, like you said, he got room to grow, so he may come with something different, and like you say, do a little bit more. But if, like I say, I feel if it's a stoppage, and even if Canelo wins by 3 rounds, I think that they're gonna try to milk that cow until it's over.
I do think youth helps Canelo too. I saw Triple G eating shots even from Vons Martirosyan ringside in May, and I know we saw what happened in the second round, but he was taking some shots.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think Golovkin has ever been a great defensive fighter. I don't think any of us felt that way. But yeah, I mean, when he in his defense, you can't hurt him. Yeah, I mean, no, straight up. I thought he's always been hittable. It's just very few men have been brave enough to stand in front of him to hit him for obvious reasons. But Canelo is skilled enough. Canelo is skilled enough, I think, to do a lot more than we saw in the first fight. And that fight, I thought he went into with a pretty good game plan. But this time around, he got a lot of time that he's had since then. Break down more footage, him and his guys. I think there's so many things.
It's his third fight at that weight, so you know what I'm saying? We still got to remember this. This is his third fight at that weight as well, so he only can be more adjusted to it. You feel me?
Yeah.
I just question if his gas tank's going to hold up. That's the main thing.
Always the question with Canelo.
It held up the first time, but like I say, if because when what's his name go to the body, he can't hurt you. But if you look at that fight, he rarely went to his body like he was supposed to.
I think Canelo hurt him to the body a few times in that fight. I just think Triple G got a good poker face. But there was a few times in the center of the ring where Canelo got him with a few body shots, and I noticed Triple G went about 15, 20 seconds without throwing a punch. He just
I've said for a very long time, and it's hard because you have to prepare yourself for the onslaught that is coming. But the guy that can go to the body and tenderize GGG to the body early will definitely have room to slow him down or stop him late. I really believe that.
It's said and done, but you can't stay in there with him, man.
No, exactly.
He's swinging a lot of them heavy, man. Like you said, he got them Popeye forearms, man.
And
like Peter Quillen said, he sparred with him, and he said, man, dude is just heavy-handed. It's like he said his jab is heavy. So, like, when I've seen that, but with Canelo, I'm going to be honest. I'm not pulling the race card, but I've never seen a Mexican move like that in my life, man.
Oscar De La
That
Hoya?
dude was smooth, man. Huh?
Oscar De La Hoya?
Nah,
No.
not
Yeah,
Oscar.
when my uncle started training.
I'd-
My
Oscar
uncle
was
started training.
fast.
I'd say Marquez before
Oscar
De La
didn't
Hoya.
have that.
Yeah, I
defense.
agree with
The
you.
way he
Yeah,
man.
well,
was
even
moving,
but
the
see,
way-
no. Let me help submit Stacy's point for him. Marquez was arguably one of, if not the best, fundamental Mexican fighter ever. But
Oh, I compare Canelo to
used-
him.
Canelo, no, but here's the difference though. Marquez was very hittable too. Canelo is a slippery Mexican style fighter.
That's what I mean. I'm talking about his defense was. I never
Yes.
seen a Mexican move
Oscar
like
had
that. Yeah,
defense.
he was nice.
No, I don't
Oscar
put
could move his
Oscar
head, too.
anywhere near
And
Canelo's
then faster
defense.
hands than Canelo. I think Canelo does got better deep, but Oscar had good defense too. Moved his head, and he had
But the
faster
thing-
hands than Canelo and faster feet.
The thing that surprised me about Canelo was when he fought a person of that status, this high, bottom, strong, and to fight that style of fight that I'd never seen him fight. This to me I gave him a lot of respect for that. I'm like, man, that's not easy to do if that's not your style. Because usually Canelo, he might move a little bit, bait you in, then he'll put the pressure on you. On that fight, he kind of moved, came in there, this and that. Like I said, he could tweak a little things because they could have gave Canelo that fight, if they didn't want to double back. They could have gave him the fight and people would have been mad and it would have been okay. But like Ben said, what's next?
Another guy.
Triple G again. No, Triple G again. That's what's next. They're gonna fight a third time.
Sal Sanchez was a little slick too, as long as we're talking about Mexican fighters.
Oh,
that
yeah,
could make
yeah.
He had some slickness.
Canelo,
But
Canelo was on steroids. How can you give him credit? That's
I mean,
an
it's a fair
allegation.
point.
That's an allegation.
No, what's the allegation?
Somebody.
No, I
I'm
mean-
saying somebody said Canelo was on steroids. How can you give him credit? I'm just saying that's.
Hey,
You don't know
hey, I don't know who that is, but whoever you is, fella, actually they caught the meat incident after the fight. They did get tested before the other fight, so no, we can't go with that.
But you guys don't think that's the whole that incident, the fact that he did test positive and they've been throwing, a lot of dirt at each other, talking a lot of trash, especially Team Golovkin. You don't think that part of this rematch is going to affect how both guys fight? Like, do you think
It's going to give us a better fight?
Well, I hope.
I think it will. I think Golovkin, he fought the first fight conservative by his standards behind the jab. And just like the flurry that knocked out Vance Martirosyan, where remember when he knocked out Daniel Gill, he ate a shot, came back. Same thing with Vance. He left his chin wide open and just went for it. Sat on his power, everything. I didn't see him do that a lot with Canelo. So I think because he's pissed off and because you got to improve to win a rematch, we're going to see him try a couple of those crazy barrages on the ropes. And that means more countering opportunities for Canelo. So I'm really excited because I think Triple G, he fought the first fight trying to win every round behind his jab. It didn't work out for him on the cards. So I think he's going to be that Triple G not the Triple G that fought David Lemieux. I think he's going to bring some of that Triple G that knocked out those lesser fighters where he would literally eat their punch to get in his own. That's why I think it's going to be a better fight.
Did you ever get in perspective like my Uncle Floyd used to tell me, fighter can get old in one night. And did you ever get the thing that maybe that age is playing a factor a little bit?
Tell him, Stacy. Yes.
I can't roll with you on that one, fellas.
You sound like
I mean, the reason
you sound
I
like
say
Broner
that
and
is,
Tank.
even with Danny Jacobs, even though he's huge, he did what he had to do, but it was like, I seen it then. It's like, I seen it a little bit before that. It's like, not like a lot, but even Floyd himself, he just was so masterful with it, but you slow down a hair.
No, here's the thing. Floyd, we didn't really see Floyd slow down until I don't think he slowed down visibly till the McGregor fight. I think that was the first time I looked at Floyd and said, either he was not as motivated or he is losing the step. But he had already put 49 other ones in the bag, so it didn't matter. But
no, not losing the step. I'm saying like, okay, we'll say with I would say that like Floyd himself would tell you that at a certain age that, his body was pretty much shot. So he had to change up styles. He used that, he started sticking that jab to the body more. Like as Floyd got older, he developed other ways to get you. But you got to think that jab to the body was always there, but he used it way more later in his career. Yeah. Same thing as Andre Ward. Andre Ward started sticking that jab to the body to take this gas out you, to make his age. Them is brilliant fighters. To make his age, even make a tired youth do. But Triple G, I don't see him using that attack. And that's when you older, you got to go to the body to slow them young boys down, man. You have to. Like, Canelo ain't going nowhere from just him going to his face.
I don't think Triple G has the tricks that some other guys need to adjust.
No.
And that's against him. But yeah, I just think the style in which he fights doesn't age as well as a guy who's got a bag of tricks. It could keep,
exactly.
I mean, Bernard Hopkins, he went from a guy who used to beat the shit out of you to the body, to the head, both hands, the executioner. And then as he got older, he reached into his bag of tricks and just slowed the fight down to a crawl to where he could just set you up for the right hand all night. Yep. So, but I don't think Triple G can make those kind of adjustments as he gets older. He does what he does.
Sean. Sean.
I agree.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ben.
No, I was going to say, Sean, what do you like, because obviously you're going to be covering the fight. You're going to be at all the fight week events this week. What are you going to be looking for in Canelo, in Golovkin? Like, are you going to be looking closely at, just how they're interacting with the media, how they're interacting with each other? Like, is there anything that's going to tip you off as to, who? I mean, I know you're picking Canelo to win, but
yes.
is there anything that you could potentially see when you do show up at the arrivals tomorrow, or when you see him at the press conference that that might change your mind about your pick?
I just want to see. I don't know. It's deep. I'd like to just hear what both guys say and then assess it from there. But I just like to see guys be in reality. I don't like it when a guy says the fight's going to be easy or they had the best camp of their life. I just want to see realistic confidence from both fighters. If I see from Triple G that he's nothing, I'm going to destroy him. He cheated the first time, I'm going to destroy him. I don't think that's a good mind state. And then with Canelo, I'm going to see if he responds to the deserved tough questions he's going to get grilled with, and if he looks in people's eyes and gives us a real answer, about I want to see what he says when someone asks him about his leg, when they ask him about the ring rust. I want to see what he's going to say when I ask him about his stamina, because thanks to Shawn Porter, he gave me the perfect segue. I could say, hey, last week we just saw a guy who may not have actually had the better boxing skills win a fight because his conditioning, because his cardio, because he can be as fresh for 12 rounds. Will you be able to do that? Will you, that I want to see what he has to say to the tough questions. I want to see how Canelo responds to the tough questions, because he's going to get the tougher questions. And then from Triple G, I want to see if his confidence, if he's still the same Triple G, if he's just or if he's acting out of character like Kovalev did. Not that maybe Kovalev wasn't acting out of character, but he acted different than he did before. But I want to see if he's going to be kind of like Kovalev was heading into the rematch, angry and almost at times dismissive of his opponent. When he said that Canelo slaps with some of his punches, it definitely did remind me of when Kovalev said that Andre Ward's body shots felt like dit. So I'm looking to see if Triple G's himself or if he's angry and out of character. And from Canelo, I want to see how he responds to the tough questions that he's got to be asked. The layoff, the drugs, the knee, and the cardio.
V, is there anything? Go ahead.
Yeah. Actually, I'm sitting here listening to Sean, and it brought something to my mind that I've been thinking. I've always felt like, Floyd aside, the squeaky wheel is typically the guy making the most noise is typically the one who's the most fearful. And I think that coming into this fight,
it's been Golovkin.
I think Golovkin has been a lot more out of character with the antics. Him and Sanchez both.
Yes.
In your opinion, fellas, does that tell us something? To me, it does, but that's my thoughts. What are yours?
It's hard to say, because some of that talk, some of that, chatter was them trying to increase the amount of money that they're going to get for the rematch. Like when he tested positive, they had to go back to the drawing board as far as negotiations, and obviously Golovkin wanted more money. So I think some of that was that. But I think that's why I want to see what happens during fight week, because for all intents and purposes, this is really going to be the first time that the two of them have really been in close proximity. I mean, I know they had a media workout in Cali. I know they've done a couple commercials, but for the most part, I mean, even when they did the initial press conference, Canelo was like, "Nah, I'm good. I don't even want to be in the same room as him."
What's up with that?
I know, right? Exactly. So that's why I kind of I want to see how these guys are going to be interacting. I want to see them at the press conference, on the dais, and just kind of see how they're acting in that moment, and even the weigh-in, and definitely the face-off. To just kind of see that, but I don't know. It's just hard to say because, again, I know Golovkin's been saying stuff which is a little more out of character, but we don't really know exactly what he's saying because a lot of it's been translated. I know he's done a lot of tell-all interviews where he unleashes on Canelo, but even those are kind of like translated conversations. So it's hard to really get a sense of how much meaning he really has. Right, exactly. So,
he's on his Stalin Soviet Union shit.
Yeah.
like there will be truth and justice through power.
I will break him. Yeah. So I'll have to see him this week. That's why I'm kind of excited.
But what was your question? My phone had went out. It had went out. What was the exact question though? What do we?
V was just all right. You're back on V. Do you wanna ask the question again so Stacy knows? V,
he muted.
Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I got a 16-month back here trying to get her piece into the show, so I wanted to keep it on the live. She wanted to talk Canelo Golovkin too. So anyway, though, basically, guys, what I was saying, Stacy, is that a lot of times we see fighters who get uncharacteristically chattery, like talking way more than they're used to. A lot of times it means that they might be a little more fearful coming into that fight. So I was saying, Floyd aside, we've seen that. In this situation, it's Golovkin. I think Golovkin and Sanchez, they've been...
I got you now. I'm going to tell you, I think he's talking more. I think Golovkin's talking more because he thinks he's finna bait him in and get the fight he wants. You got to think he's steady saying he got fight. He fight. He's trying to a point, he's trying to get Canelo angry to be more aggressive. Because he feels that if Canelo's more aggressive, it helps him. That's what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Stacy,
maybe I'm wrong. You know what though? They went in pretty hard going into their first fight towards the actual fight, and I don't think
about it. But think about it. The promotion for the first fight, he kept saying, "This is going to be the fight. We're going to get real fight." At the end of the fight, he said, "I thought I was getting real fight." He's not giving me real fight. So he really, in a funny way, saying, "You a sucker. You running. I fight Mexican style. You running." He's trying to bait him in. It's probably not going to work, but he's trying to bait Canelo in to say, "Well, okay." But like you said, Canelo, like, "Man, I'm not even going to be there." Canelo's coming with a game plan. We already know that. But I would love for Canelo to do what he wanted to do. That would be amazing for us.
Somebody said you a Triple G hater. Who you talking about, Shady Slim? You talking about V? Who's the Triple G hater? You must be talking about V.
It ain't me. I love both of them fighters, man. I love them both. I like both of them fighters, man.
Warriors.
I didn't know I qualified as a Triple G hater. I'm a truth seeker. I just, hey, it is what it is, man. Hey, actually, since he went there, I don't know if he was talking about me, but I'm gonna act like he is. Damn it. Look, if this is my thing on. All right, Vic. All right, whatever. I'll be Vic. Whatever. Hey, listen. Look here, Shady Slim. Look here, Shady Slim. No, bottom line, I like Golovkin like everybody else. I love what he brings to the ring. Love his toughness, love his power. But I do believe that when you have a guy who is given this much clout, this much whatever, all the bravado shit. It sounds great. But the bottom line is, to me, my biggest gripe with Golovkin, and I'm going to throw this out there. We've talked about this before, fellas. I'm going to say this for those who weren't here before. My biggest gripe is that this guy gets an awful lot of accolades for someone who really doesn't have a career-defining victory. Like, I mean, call me crazy, fellas, but we've seen every fight that could have been a career-defining victory for Golovkin has basically been an asterisk. Like, you could have gone the other way. I want to see the career-defining victory. It could come Saturday. If he stops Canelo, to me, that would be big, because Canelo, we've barely seen buzzed, but I want to see the guy do what everyone seems to think he can or has or should be able to do. I haven't seen it. I like him. I watch him like you guys do, but I'm easy to go on that credit. I don't think that he has earned what he's given in some respects. That's just my spin, though, fellas.
V, Shady Slim is an Amir Khan fan. I think he's just upset that you kind of dismissed Amir Khan and didn't want to talk too much about him.
Well, there's a lot of talk about Mexican
I
style.
apologize, man, but hey, man, for the dude that's an Amir Khan fan, I'm gonna just tell you, it's okay, man. My cousin retired, man. It's okay, man. He ain't what he used to be, man. It's okay. It's okay, bro.
Wow.
Guess what? If you like him so much, if you like him, if you really like him, do you want him to fight Errol Spence Jr.? If you do like him, your answer will be no.
That's messed up. Yeah, no, I'm excited for the fight. Do you feel like there's been the same, like it does it feel like it's fight week for Canelo Golovkin too?
Man, people just want to see the shit happen already. We got so anticipated for the first fight. It was going to be Hagler Hearns, and then after making us wait a whole year and all the bullshit that's happened since, I think everyone is just ready to watch the fight. I don't think the fight hype is as big as it was for the first fight. I think people just ready to see this shit conclude.
I think the what's the name offset the what it was. You're right, Shawn, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right, because I think that the meat and that incident, the meat, I think that is the reason why people ain't as excited, because it's been a time frame. Now, if it went straight from what September to May, I think that it was more, because I was urged for it. Now, I mean, I am now, because we boxing fans, so of course us, but like a lot of people is like, man, this, like you said, just get it over with, because now it's been a whole year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Opposed to that.
And people want to see it, but
that back to back. Because I wanted it back to back.
Right.
I mean, but we're gonna take it how we get it, man. You know how boxing is. People complain and everything. It's just like the game Call of Duty. Everybody talk about it sucks, but they keep buying it. So
hey, we play Halo though, right, Ben?
Yeah, I play Halo, yes.
Yeah, we play Halo, brother.
I play Call of Duty too, though.
I got an Xbox, man. I can't play Halo. Halo is on Xbox.
Yeah.
Halo's on Xbox. Well, I got both. I got an Xbox and a PlayStation. So.
Get on that griff ball this week.
No, I'm going to get on Spider-Man this week. That's what I'm going to get on.
Yeah, I'm going to get that too.
Hey, fellas, actually, no. I'm going to hold that question. Actually, I will throw it out there. We can chew on this more later in the week, fellas. But I see my man James Jones said 2 million pay-per-views. I don't buy that, but what do you guys think this fight's going to sell?
1.3. 1.3. I'm going to go with 1.3.
1.5.
1.5.
Didn't they do 1.3 last time?
I think so.
You think that you don't think? Do you think the less hype of? I think that if they had did it on May as it was supposed to be after the other one, I think it would have did better than the other one. But it might equal, because I think the last time Floyd fight did offset that.
I think the numbers could be higher than 1.5, just because I've been surprised how much casual people that don't care about boxing know about this fight.
And Shawn, I had made a point last time on
1.5 is a big fight.
Remember, they was coming off of the Floyd McGregor.
Exactly. Right. Because this is the fight
in the same city.
Right.
Yeah, stealing streams.
And that was $100 fight. That was $100 pay-per-view fight.
Yes, right. Stealing streams has become a lot easier with all these new, Facebook Live, Instagram stories. I just wonder how much that is going to potentially affect.
Man, do you know Facebook Live cut the fights off now, man? They own it, man.
Sometimes. Sometimes.
Yeah, they catch it. If
Yeah.
they catch it.
If they catch it. If they catch it. Sometimes people just jump on Instagram, IG stories, do it on there.
And then it's to the point, like, when you get fights like that, the thing about Floyd, and I'm just doing this because it was starting like the Pacquiao fight. Of course, he offered me a ticket, but a lot of people come from Grand Rapids, so I have a fight party. I charge them $50. They come to the house, everybody watch the fight. The thing about, like, it was different is a lot of people would free stream Floyd fights, but a lot of people actually wanted to buy the fight because they was having these fight parties and everything, so they didn't want to take a chance on it messing up. With Canelo, it's more like people want to just see it free because they want to see it. I don't think they're going to have millions of fight parties, well, not in the United States, over Canelo and Triple G. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like real fight fans, or like you say, some casuals. But you got to think them casuals is the people that pay $5 to get to the fight party that you paid for. They don't want to buy it, but they want to see it.
Well, you also
so
have
they
to,
say, well,
there'll be some.
You also have to keep in mind that they raised the price on the pay-per-view. I mean, I think it was only $5 more, but I mean, they still raised the price on this pay-per-view.
There's now.
I think it's $84.95. $84.95.
Wow.
Yes, that is. Yeah. There will be some fight parties in the States, like, you know, Eastern Los Angeles. Places like that.
I mean, it's gonna be some, but I'm talking about like.
No.
I mean, it will be, but you
the
know,
Mexican
at the same
American
time,
fans are all gonna buy it, you know. But
then you got to think a lot of them coming, a lot of them around the corner.
right. Oh yeah, and they
You know, it's an event, and you got to think it's also Spanish holiday too. So you know, it's an event itself.
And Mexican people, my wife, my fiance is Mexican, and she explained to me that.
You heard him. My wife. I mean.
That's why you picking Canelo. You're gonna get in trouble if you don't pick Canelo.
She's an objective boxing fan. She goes down the middle.
What's going on in the house?
She's like, Canelo needs to fucking stay off the ropes. That's her. She's gonna be objective. No, but she was saying that this is
somebody, it's easy to say, man, but that dude seemed like he must have got some different type of power, man.
She was saying what, Sean? This is what?
Just that the Mexican Independence Day is the bigger holiday than Cinco de Mayo.
It's the actual holiday. Cinco de Mayo is not a real holiday.
Right.
It's not.
No.
I think it's like over the Battle of Texas or something. It's not even.
No, that's the
no, that is Mexican Independence Day.
The September date is actual Mexican Independence
Day, right?
About the Alamo and that stuff.
No,
ain't that what it's called?
No,
come on, help us out, chat. Help us out, chat. Come on.
Yeah, no, I don't. I just know that the September date is the actual holiday. Like, that's the actual Mexican Independence Day. Cinco de Mayo, I think, is just something that they made up over. It's like a Hallmark holiday, basically.
Another excuse to get drunk.
It's like Sweetest Day. You know, it's just an excuse to, you know.
Oh, the date is supposed to be for us, but our women end up getting stuff. Oh yeah, that day.
right. But guys, I want to save some stuff for the next show. We could probably wrap up here. Is there anything you guys wanted to touch on before we all get out of here?
I want to touch on one thing. This is our way out of balance. I want Gervonta Davis and Mikey Garcia.
Ooh, yeah. Yo, Rahman's gone. He's the one that actually sent me the video, but I think they met for the first time in New York, and Gervonta gave him a big hug, like a real big hug.
Guess what? Mikey cares nothing about that
hug. Should I ask Mikey about Lomachenko? Because you know, we talked to Bob. Bob was like, we could make the fight happen in March of 2019. And Mikey was like, yeah, let's do it. I don't believe him at all, but
Mikey's not even.
I'm with Errol Spence. I'm with Errol Spence Jr. on the smoking mirrors, man.
Gervonta's the fight. I really think Gervonta's the fight Mikey should be going after. I actually think that, number one, it's an easier fight. That's no disrespect to Tank. I'm not saying Tank's an easy fight. I'm just saying it's an easier fight than trying to fight a 147-pounder. And Tank is moving up to 135, or I think he's going to move up to 135. That's not definitely.
Judging by the way he look, I don't think he got a choice.
By the way he look, it doesn't look like he has a choice. But if I was Mikey, I actually would. Again, I don't know if they would make that fight a pay-per-view, but if they did try and make that fight a pay-per-view, I would actually prefer that fight for the simple fact that Tank's promoter is Floyd Mayweather. So Floyd Mayweather is going to be involved in the fight. So I actually think that's a better
fight. You could put a nice card with that too. You can make that. You throw Broner on there. You throw who else would you throw on there?
You could throw anybody onto a card and make it a decent card. But I'm just saying, as far as Mikey's concerned, I just think that if he's looking for a pay-per-view fight, if he's looking for money, if he's looking to to take his status to the next level, I actually like the Gervonta fight more than the Errol Spence fight. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Errol Spence fight, he would get massive props for beating Errol Spence, of course. Probably more props than he would get for beating Gervonta Davis. But I just feel like when you have Floyd involved in a fight, it becomes bigger than just a regular fight. I mean, even when Broner fought Ashley Theophane, most people would be like, who cares? I don't care about this fight. But that fight became bigger because Floyd was involved in it. So I just think that if I were Mikey, if I had my business hat on, I probably would have not called out, but I probably would be talking about fighting Gervonta Davis instead of Errol Spence. Ooh, that's a tough fight.
It's too bad, man. Mikey and Loma, that's as good a fight as boxing, is my opinion. But we might never
see. But it's more difficult to make happen. You're dealing with, when you deal with, when they get to that, it's just like when I say the fights, we talk about the fights, but I be thinking more of the things that's so easy to happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Shit that could actually happen.
It could happen.
Right.
Right.
I don't think that Gervonta would want that fight, because when he was asked about it, which to me was the craziest answer I've ever heard from a 130-pounder. That's what I don't understand about these fighters. That's one weight from the weight they're going to. When they asked him, "What do you think about you and Mikey Garcia fighting?" He said, "I never really pictured me and him fighting. He's big." I'm like, I don't understand that.
No, yeah, I remember he said Lomachenko's got to rush. I don't have to rush right now.
That was Lomachenko. But then what's the name was?
Oh, about Mikey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mikey. He said that. He said that he never pictured him fighting him. He said, "I looked at him as big," and I'm like, "But he's 135."
Yeah, yeah.
It's just different from
he started at a weight lower than him.
Yeah.
He started at 126.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I didn't think about that. Wow.
That's a little bit of a shame if Tank doesn't want to fight the best, because we know he's got talent out the ass. Like, he's hand, speed, power.
He didn't say no. He didn't say no. He said, "I just never." I pictured it as a no. He said, "I never pictured it." And I don't understand why you wouldn't picture the person that's the face of the division you're going to.
Right.
That should be the only picture you see.
Right. It's just one division up. I mean, it sounded like he was fighting at 160.
Yeah, the weight to take is that he got to go up, or he got to call somebody down. I don't see too many people at 130 this a big money fight for him.
No.
Yeah. Cool. Well, gents, we'll wrap it up. I don't know when we're gonna go live again. I don't know. I'll hit you guys up, V. I'll shoot you a text. Sean, shoot you a text.
Yes, sir.
We'll get it in though. We definitely got to do a deep dive into Canelo Golovkin. So we'll circle back maybe on Wednesday.
I will get him after the weigh-in.
Or after the weigh-in, fresh off the weigh-in. Maybe we'll go live then, fresh off the weigh-in. So
I'll go fresh from the media room.
Fresh from the media room. We might have you go live during the weigh-in.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So, all right, gents. Good chatting with you. And
wait, you gonna be here, Sean?
Huh? Yes. What's up?
You coming to Vegas?
Sean lives in Vegas.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, I see you there. Make sure you. Hey, give him my number, fam.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, then we'll link up.
I got you.
Yeah, most definitely, Stacey.
I mean, I seen that New York thing in the back of you. I didn't think you was here.
Yeah. I'm from Brooklyn, but I mean, I've lived here most of my life, so
for sure.
I don't know.
Can I get a shout out? Can I give a shout out?
Give a shout out.
Can I give a shout out to the real HBO Spartans, man? What's up? I ain't forgot about y'all. Peace.
All right, fellas.
Hey, see you later, B.
Signing off, y'all.
Take care.